Um, so we're here for our small biz chat, weekly small biz chat every Wednesday at 10. And this week we wanted to talk about people are itching to get out now. They're starting to get cooped up, but we're having some realistic conversations on what the new normal will be. And we've been discussing and also sharing some insights as to how consumer behaviour is actually going to affect buying trends or actual social sort of activity going forward. And whilst we've been looking at different industries, we wanted to know if anybody has specific insights or white papers that they've seen to share with us. But one of our passion industries, as it were, this is how Karen and I met, was through travel. And today we're going to talk about travel and perhaps what the new normal might look like.
Okay, thanks, Christelle. So we've got our first guest on our Small Biz Chat show today, Helen Youngman. So hi, Helen. So I met Helen locally through my Eco Meetup Norwich networking group. So we've known each other for almost a year now, I think. And Helen does some fantastic kind of sustainable and ethical travel. So we thought we'd get her on here and find out what's going, ask a few questions about what's kind of the future of travel, where things are going. So Helen, well, first of all, if you can just kind of maybe tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Yeah, sure. So basically I run an independent travel consultancy in Norfolk. I come from, kind of an ethical, sustainable tour background. So running small group tours to quite under the radar parts of the world. And this, I've worked in travel for sort of over 10 years now. And it all came about after me living in Bangladesh for a year, kind of working for a really small grassroots NGO. So I set up my business, it's nearly 3 years ago now. It's kind of offering people a really personal service. So getting to know them on quite a deep level, understanding, what their motivations are behind the trip that they're going to take, and either kind of match them to a tour or create one myself. And really like to kind of inspire people to travel to places that they might not have heard of before or might not know much about. So for example, if somebody's really into kind of lakes and mountains, then why not look at going to Kyrgyzstan in Central Asia or Lake Ohrid in Macedonia, that kind of thing. That's my background.
Oh, amazing.
Okay.
We miss it. I'm literally itching, and it's one of those.
I know.
I'm actually thinking about putting together. So I'm that old that all of my travel pictures are not on Instagram. They're hard copy. So, I mean, to inspire, I've really noticed how different destinations and travel companies are trying to still engage with their audience. So what have you seen, or what should companies, do you feel, what do you think they should be doing now? Because obviously we can't travel, but, we obviously, it's so important, I think, to discover sort of like new cultures, understand how people work and, and live. So what have you seen, and what do you think that the industry should be doing more of? What have you liked?
I think they're actually doing a really good job, especially the tour companies and businesses that I work with, because there is so much, doom and gloom in the news at the moment, with sort of all of the airlines and the kind of business side of things. But what they're actually missing is the kind of human element. So, the fact that tourism it does really have a positive impact on the world. And I've seen a lot of the tour companies that I work with are sharing sort of stories of their local guides that they employ, and the conservation projects that they run, and the schools that they help fund. So what was I reading the other day? The Six Senses, they actually, because they have such a focus on wellness and holistic living, they're running sort of meditation and yoga classes. They're sharing recipes. I mean, I've been trying to share recipes from around the world and kind of my favourite immune boosting tips and that kind of thing. Also encouraging people to share their memories as well, so their favourite travel memories and where, dreaming of travelling to next. There's even the Six Senses are actually they've run a marine biologist I think it's a 6-week program that children can kind of sign up to. So there's some really, really inspirational stuff out there. And I think, you know, given that it's not pretty at the moment, it's really, you know, there's a lot of people around the world whose livelihoods have really, really been affected by this. So yeah, all I'd say is just kind of keep an eye out for stuff like that, because there is a lot of really fascinating sort of inspirational things going on social media.
Yeah, one of that is, yeah, fascinating. I love watching your posts as well. I think that's a really good angle, just how people are kind of moving over to do some of the other passions like you with travel, because I think you mentioned as well you were looking at doing some food tours just before lockdown hit.
Yeah, I went to start out somewhere in Riga, and because it is, you know, it's this all-encompassing thing. You know, if people are into travel, they're usually interested in food and what that kind of the crossover really, and what it means for the country's heritage, and you know, most people that travel, yeah, there's kind of the whole conservation side of it as well, and nature, and yeah.
So what do you think, sort of all the considerations people will be thinking about now going forwards when they're booking travel? I mean, what's kind of happening at the moment? What are people's kind of thoughts about the future a bit?
I mean, this is kind of something I was talking about on my Earth Day video, that I think one really good thing that has kind of happened in this crazy lockdown is that people are really, it feels like they're connecting to nature more. So we're kind of being forced to kind of look inwards and really slow down, and people are starting to grow their own vegetables, and, you know, they're buying vegetables from local farm shops. And in that, I think there is kind of a shift to me. I mean, this is maybe my hopeful sort of optimism. You know, we seem to have this kind of desire to do good and help each other. And I think hopefully that then spans out to sort of the wider, this kind of want to do good for the planet as well. So I actually put out a survey a few days ago, because I just kind of wanted to gauge what people are thinking. I'm thinking, is this just my hope, or is this actually reality? And yeah, over 60 people said that they want to travel more sustainably after this sort of COVID-19. So in terms of actually booking the travel, so I mean, I had friends that had booked all of their own, you know, stuff online through different booking sites, and, you know, when something like this happens, they're really left out on their own. It's, you know, you've got no logistical support, you've got no financial support, whereas clients that had booked through me, you know, they don't have to do anything. I completely arrange them to get home, and because it is a really, really stressful thing, and I don't think people really realised how, you know, how bad a situation it was really until it happened. So hopefully people will actually start wanting to book with, you know, with either a travel agent or a trusted company. Let's think what else. So
I saw as well, it was quite interesting. What do you think about the safety element? Because there are people, obviously, over the next 18 months, 2 years, you know, there's still people that are at risk.
yeah.
And so safety is going to be a high priority. And so I've already seen some tourism boards really trying to get that message out as to, right, how are we going to promote safety? How are we going to look at what measures we take in place? So I'm sure that's going to be big communication.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually put that in my survey, and it does seem to be, you know, people they want to keep themselves and their families as safe as possible. So, you know, there are going to be, I would say, probably a large proportion of people that are just not going to want to travel. They're not going to want to get on that aeroplane. But I think it's really interesting just seeing sort of airlines and, like you say, tourism boards, the kind of measures that they're now looking at kind of getting in place. And I think there is going to be a real sort of shift in people wanting to go to quite remote places as well. And yeah, not all flock to these really sort of busy sites where it's just, you know, we're now sort of socially isolating here. So that's going to then span out for quite a long time, I would imagine. Social distancing when we travel as well. So
yeah, and I think as well, something we were chatting about, we're saying, you know, if obviously a lot of airlines and stuff are really struggling, a lot will probably go under. You know, I think the cheap flight thing might change dramatically, which is not a bad thing.
Definitely, it's one of the
Yeah,
days.
you know, looking at different ways of doing it, maybe, you know, sailing there or going by train and things like that, if the infrastructure's in place. But if you are going, maybe spending a longer time there. So if you are going to a longer place, rather than going there just for a short stint and back again, actually going and making a lot more of it, more time.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be a more kind of, I think it's an interesting concept, isn't it? And it's something that's been on my mind for quite a long time. I mean, I come from sort of an overlanding background as well, where you know, it not only is that kind of better for the planet, not just hopping on on an internal flight just because it's easy to do so, but by doing that, you know, you really miss out on the changing sort of landscapes and the diversity of the place, and you see the kind of transitions in everything from, you know, what people are wearing, local people are wearing, to the food, and there's so many, you know, ways that we can travel, not having to sort of whiz around and, like you say, trying to kind of cram in as much as possible. You know, you can sail some of these sailing trips, you can get to tiny little villages that you just can't reach any other way than boat. You know, you can cycle, you can sail, and it might walk, sorry, it might mean that you're not covering this huge amount of the country, but actually it's a really kind of wholesome way to see a place. So I think, yeah, there's going to be a lot of kind of transitions and interesting concepts that are going to come out from this this whole thing. So
amazing. Fantastic. I love this whole idea of slower travel, and hopefully employers might actually counter for that, because obviously a week travel, and like you say, that package flight, that package holiday deal, and then to obviously realise, well, actually, no, we need a bit more time. Maybe let's just see how that's going to impact everything. Into, you know, so many different factors to think about. But it's lovely that we're having conversations already, and already. I mean, I already have my dreams of my little camper van going around Italy right now.
Well, in our kind of job, you can be anyway, can't you? You just need a good internet connection. And actually, one of my clients, they're actually doing just that. They've signed up to Climate Perks, which is employees can do, and it basically means that if the employees want to travel longer in a more eco-sustainable way, they are giving them the time to do that. They're giving them extra time to do that. So yes, that's really interesting. So I'll post some links in the comments, and also your talk you did on Earth Day, Helen, because it goes a lot more in depth into what we've been talking about now. It's absolutely so interesting. I just sat there. I know you were saying, you talked for half an hour, but I was so engaged. I think
that's so good.
Really, really interesting. So I'll pop that in the links below. We'll just say a quick hi to Gail, hi to Nikki, thanks for joining us, guys. We will pop some more links in the comments, as I mentioned. But yeah, from me, I said, well, thanks, Helen, so much for coming and being a guest on the show.
It's good to be here
and talking to us.
Yeah, and actually, let us know in the comments below. Like I know that Alex actually posted she was due to go to Mykonos. So when we were doing a bit of pre-promotion for this talk, and so people are feeling it. So I'd love to know, where are you due to go? What can you be doing? I think, like you say, Helen, there's some amazing things with food and drink and partnerships there. having your own little travel experience at home whilst you can for the moment. But from Karen and I know that travel is an industry that we love, and so we're rooting for you. And obviously we will be watching what you're doing and sharing. We love your content. Karen shared your video, and we're encouraging anyone that's watching this to watch it as well, and follow Helen. Book your holidays through Helen.
That would be nice.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Bye. Goodbye, everyone.
So we'll see you later next week. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.